Okay, welcome. This is our Inspire Pinecrest meeting on water. Thank you all for coming. I'm Joe Cordino, the mayor of Pinecrest. It's a pleasure to have you here. We have with us Councilmember Anna Hockemer, who is here, and ex-mayor Cindy Lerner. Wonderful. Thank you all for coming in. Our staff that does a great job to really help put all this together. This is kind of the culmination of our efforts on the Inspire Pinecrest campaign. We had this vision about a year ago, and then we started to have issues after the hurricane. So we put this all together, and we wanted to find out how we could do things a little bit better in response to the hurricane. What we found was we had some of these issues that we've been working on for a long, long time. And this is one of them, water. We've been working on this for close to the entire time we've been incorporated. We've done a decent job in the sense that we've got it surrounded now, and there's about 755 homes that do not have access to water and who have not tapped into water, which I think a decade ago we had double that. So the problem is slowly solving itself, but as we get down to the final details, here it becomes really polishing it off and really how to get everybody what they want as we go forward. One of the difficult problems with water, as Mark Spagnoli is going to explain to us here in a second, is it's something we're not in control of. This is a Miami-Dade County enterprise. They built the water system, they run the water system, we pay them for the water, and they have their own mechanisms for how to implement this type of thing. So that adds a little bit to the complication of all this. I've spoken with the mayor of the county on multiple occasions, and the last I heard is they simply cannot help us on this issue. So this is something that if we want, we as a community are going to ultimately end up paying for. So with that, I want to introduce Mark. He's going to take us through a brief presentation, then we'll have comments and we'll figure out where to go. So thank you all for coming. If you ever have any questions, all of us are here to help answer them. We're always available. Mark, break a leg.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, I'm Mark Spagnoli. I'm the Public Works Director for the Village of Pinecrest. I wanted to just ask for a show of hands who from the audience came out to one of our previous Inspire conversations regarding water. I was there. Okay, just to get an idea. So I'm going to just do a brief overview of what we talked about there, and then we're going to go into some other information. One of the important things the mayor said was that we are not the utility company. Miami-Dade Water and Sewer is the utility company that services this area, and the village has always been working hard to try to figure out how we can help get the water lines completed throughout the village. He's right. When probably shortly after we incorporated, we started working on this effort, and we've reduced the number of homes that did not have water available to them by half from that time to now. So we're going to get into some of those details, and we're going to go into some other new information that we've been working on more recently. So we're going to go over a brief history, what's happening now, some environmental studies and testing that we're currently undergoing that's going to, I think, help our cause. Results of those testing, cost estimates of what the system would take to complete, and exploring funding options and things that we're looking at going forward. So just a brief history, we started our water master plan back in 2008. It was broken up into two phases where we actually implemented some of the water lines throughout the village that were missing. We received funding from a state grant as well as some general obligation bond money that the county had provided to us at that time. The first phase was done in 2010, and the second phase was completed in 2011. Since then, we've been working effortlessly to try to find other funding sources to fund the remaining portion of the water lines that are missing. Some of the work that has been going on in the village has primarily been installed by private developers. When they build a new home, they have to extend short pieces of water lines throughout the village. So these are our current conditions. Everything on this map that's in red are properties that do not have water lines available to them, public potable water lines in front of their homes. This results in about 743 properties that do not have water available. When we started this venture, I think we were upwards of 1,500 homes, and we're down to 743. And I think yesterday we just had another new house going to certificate of occupancy, which brings us down to 742. So we got creative. We had some interesting ideas. We started to think about the potential for contamination in the groundwater. Since a lot of people are on well water, we need to try to determine whether there's any type of contamination. We looked at existing USGS wells that are here in the village of Pinecrest. And some of that data that we collected, it appears that there might be some saltwater intrusion at those wells. We're going to conduct further studies to make a more refined determination, a scientific determination. But as of now, it looks like the saltwater intrusion has gone beyond the line that the county shows on their maps based on those wells. Now, the USGS wells are at different depths than your typical drinking water well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing some monitoring wells throughout the village in the areas where the homes do not have potable water to try to determine exactly the extent of the saltwater intrusion. Our initial thoughts, talking with our environmental consultants, is that it could be about half of the 743 homes could be affected with saltwater intrusion or salt contamination in their potable wells. So that's something that we've just started. The well drilling is going to happen this month, and we're going to start taking sampling shortly after. We should have some initial results of that sampling, and we'll be providing that to the council in September. But that's going to help us determine what options we do have. Immediately after we find out if there is any type of saltwater intrusion in our wells, we'll have to put the county and the state on notice. We'll have to let them know that there is a problem. That may provide us with with funding sources from the state and from the county. They're not necessarily required by law to immediately put in water lines. They might provide some other types of filters and stuff like that, but I think it's a way to definitely get the conversation going a little deeper. I think we've tried many different avenues to get them to fund the projects, and now we're going to have to force them through science. So this is something we're looking at right now. When we have, I'll take questions in a moment. When we have more data, we'll certainly share it with everyone. But this is something new that has come up more recently. So just for reference, if we were to complete the entire water system here in the village of Pinecrest, it's about a $15 million project. This would be about 18.5 miles of water lines and a little over 200 fire hydrants to complete the system. And if we were to do that, each individual homeowner, if they chose to connect to that potable water line, they would have a cost of running the water service from their house and to connect to the meter. And obviously a small village permit fee. So, depending on the results of the testing, we want to get a feeling from the people which way they'd like to go. If the county, if there's contamination, we will pursue that avenue with the county and see if the county and the state are willing to provide funding to complete the system. If that doesn't come through and for some reason we can't find contamination or saltwater intrusion in the wells, we would like to send out a ballot to the homes of all the residents that don't have water to see what their interests are, if they have an interest in moving forward in funding it themselves through a special assessment. That's something that we would explore depending on the results of the testing. If that were to come to fruition, it would be a cost of about $1,200 per household for the next 20 years. This is just information I'm providing just so you guys have all the information on the table. So that pretty much wraps it up. We don't have any more information to provide at this time, but we're happy to take questions from the audience.